start for our distinguished guests.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, and of course, our honored guests. So, who here avoids going to parties or gatherings because you know you're going to have to talk to somebody you don't know? You know, even to this day, I don't so much anymore, but I used to avoid going to gatherings at work because I knew probably maybe one or two people. But now I've gotten pretty good at it. I will have to say, though, working on this project, it was more challenging than I thought, because I thought I was a pretty good conversationalist. But some of those tips in there I thought were quite helpful. So I'm going to share those with you today. One of the reasons why some people are nervous about going to these gatherings is that you know you're going to have to talk to somebody sometime. It may be just to answer a question, do you want chocolate cake or white cake or some punch, whatever the case may be, but you're going to have to talk and start the conversation somehow. But why is conversation important in life? Well, conversation stimulates yourself, the people that you're with. It actually piques your interest. You're able to share ideas and learn new ideas. One of the points of conversation is hopefully you'll learn something new. It may be something about the person specifically, or maybe something that they do that you didn't know was involved in that job. There's many different things that you can pick up from speaking with other people. The other basic need is human contact. Now, I have a constant battle with my husband. He is not a social bunny like I am. So, and he claims he does not need human contact. Well, I don't believe that. He gets quite a bit at work. He is a social worker, so I think that's where most of his human contact comes in. And I have to admit he's brain dead when he gets home, dealing with all the issues that he has to deal with. So I can understand that, but I do believe everybody needs a little human contact. Now, Tim, I don't know. Seems to enjoy, I'm here evaluator. He seems to enjoy being home and retired. So, but I would love to be home and not have to get out every morning. And the other thing is, you have to remember, every friendship you have has started out in a conversation. It may have been just hello or hi, my name's Dave, what's yours? And then you immediately hit it off, started conversing back and forth, found out more details, got some personal information, you found out that you like this person a lot. So that's where you go with it. That's how a conversation works. You just kind of build it. Many people are very nervous or hesitant to start a conversation. And why is that? We're nervous. We make ourselves vulnerable when we start sharing things. So those are the type of things that people shy away from. So when you start a conversation, the first step you want to do is basically just start out with the basic level of small talk. There are 4 basic levels of conversation. The first level is small talk. And that small talk can be weather, current events, your immediate surroundings. Like I've got my Toastmasters lapel pin holder that I just love to take around and show everybody, right? So that could be a great conversation starter, right? Some people is like, oh my gosh, look at that person. He loves Toastmasters. He carries all this stuff around. But starts the conversation, right? And this small talk gets the conversation going. And you decide then, you started already in the first couple minutes, you start to decide if you like this person, if you want to continue the conversation, and you want to keep moving on to the second level, which is fact disclosure, hobbies, what's your occupation, those type of things are what you want to get into. And then step 3, viewpoints and opinions. And I have to remind you, watch what your opinion is when you're right in the first part of a conversation. Someone asked me what I thought of somebody, and I thought I was a good friend with them. I only knew them for a few minutes, and I said, well, I really don't like that person. Next thing I know, the conversation went dead. And it was my boss's boss. But, so I learned from there that maybe I shouldn't have shared my opinion so fast. I should have maybe got to know the conversation a little bit better. So those are kind of some of the things you can learn on. And then the next level is that once you start sharing opinion, you can go on to the fourth level, which is sharing personal feelings. And that's where you can get into, I really don't care for that person, or whatever the case may be. But you've built the rapport, you've built that conversation up. So again, basic, small, first level, small talk. Proceed to your second, fact-finding. Viewpoints and opinions. And then the fourth one is your personal feelings. And remember to start out with a positive attitude. If you show up at a party and you're negative right from the start, saying, I don't want to be here, people are going to pick up on that. They're not going to really want to have a conversation with you, for one. And secondly, you can, like I said before, you can always learn from somebody, something. Maybe just a minor thing, but you might pick up something interesting. It's like reading a book. I always try, when I read a book, pick up at least one good thing from that book. At least one. The other thing is, a good conversationalist is also a good listener. So that's where you need to be when you are leading into another question or ask people what's going on with them. You need to be a listener to see what they've told you already and try to use that information when you ask questions. And you should always ask the question, lead into it with an open-ended question. Don't ask, oh, does it rain there? The question should be, what kind of weather do you receive in Puerto Vallarta, or whatever the case may be. So you want to open that conversation and get it going. I pretty much discussed a little bit about conversation starting. What we're going to go into now is a role play. Doug Lauer has volunteered to help with the role play. We're going to meet at a party. We don't know each other. And I'm going to try to start this conversation going. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I haven't done a role play in a while. So let's see how it goes. Welcome, Doug Lauer. My name's Dave714breakice. How are you?
Oh, Doug Lauer. Nice to meet you.
Doug, what do you do for a living?
Well, right now I'm sort of semi-retired, trying to figure out what I want to do. I have some hobbies. I do improv acting, and then formed a production company, and trying to figure out how to make some money off of being an actor.
Oh, okay. So you took a leave of absence from work?
Or I know I quit. I walked away.
Because of your career, you decide, or this hobby that you thought could roll into a full-time job?
I'm hoping that's the case. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I've been a Toastmaster for 17 years.
Toastmasters.
And I like to speak, and getting in front of an audience is no problem for me. Someone told me along the line that taking improv classes would improve my public speaking, so that's how I got into it.
And you enjoy improv?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah? So how did you get started in improv? I mean, that's not something you do naturally, right? Don't you have to kind of work up to it?
You have to be open to it. You have to have a little imagination. I took a class, and there are rules that I didn't know existed. Learn the rules, and then you learn to break the rules. That's all part of being an improv actor, is playing off the other person. One of the big rules is whatever the other person says is correct, so you say yes and build on it, and you make the other person look good. That's your whole point as an actor, is to make the other person look good.
And improv is humorous, right?
It can be, or it usually is, but it can be serious too. It just depends on how the scene develops. One of the things I learned from our teacher was, don't always go for the joke. I tend to be a little bit of a comedian, and I would go for the punchline, and he would always kind of grab me, pull me back, say, don't go for the joke. Listen to what your partner said, and build on that.
And then you said something about a production company? You started your own production company?
I started my own production company, hoping to produce our improv shows, and maybe some comedy shows.
Our improv shows? So you have...
I'm with our improv troupe.
Oh, okay.
So
you have, what, couple of people you work with?
there's 9 of us all together in the troupe. 2 of us are co-producing a comedy show coming up in September. We have a young up-and-coming comic who's down in LA.
Visiting hours for adult services are over in 10 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation.
He's from this area, he took a class, I took the same class with him actually, only he's now going off to make a career out of it. We're gonna put on a little show for everybody in Walnut Creek.
Oh, okay. And it's in Walnut Creek, you said, in the fall?
Yeah, it's gonna be in September,
Oh, okay.
September 19th.
It's open to the public?
It is, it's at the Laptop Lounge in Walnut Creek, giving a commercial.
Laptop Lounge. I never heard of it.
It's like an office away from home. It's for entrepreneurs who don't have their own, say work out of their homes, but they want to have a business address. So you join, you pay the Laptop Lounge, and they actually will answer the phone for you with your business name. You have like a receptionist there, you have an office, you have a private office there to meet clients. It's really kind of a neat place.
Oh. And how'd you get, this is somebody you knew at the Laptop Lounge?
Well, a friend is a member there at the Laptop Lounge, so everything's kind of connected, it's all networking.
And are you selling tickets, or is it a free event?
Yeah, no, it's tickets, there's tickets, you actually get them through the Laptop Lounge, $10 a ticket.
And then how'd you get hooked up with these guys, these friends of yours?
Through the improv, and I also go to a networking meeting, Tuesdays, Successful Thinkers Network in Walnut Creek, every Tuesday.
Successful Thinkers Network, so what do you do there?
It's a networking luncheon, you go meet people, and there's usually a speaker. It provides, like today, there was a speaker on tech issues, how to get your name out, social media, email marketing, that sort of thing. So it's usually a speaker on some topic related to being an entrepreneur.
Well, Doug, this has been a great opportunity to get to know you a little bit, and I'd like to know more information about the improv, and we'll go from there. Well, thanks so much.
That's good meeting.
Thanks, So now we have a few minutes for questions and answers, any discussions. I guess the first question I'd like to ask is, how do you think the conversation went? I actually felt pretty comfortable with it myself. Yes.
Seemed like you were getting a lot of information from him and he wasn't really reciprocating and learning to know anything about you.
Well, I mean, that's the key. So one of the things that I learned, and which is true, people like to talk about themselves. They really do. So once you get the conversation rolling, all you have to do is keep prompting a little bit and listen to what they tell you and respond with that information. But honestly, Doug put me at ease. I felt comfortable. The conversation rolled back and forth. I thought it went very well.
I thought you asked good questions that weren't really intrusive, but they allowed him to give an answer that would be more than yes or no, or go basically.
I will have to tell you that this went more smoothly than it would have if you were talking with someone that doesn't like to speak. Because I've been in conversations, especially like high school students, it's like prying teeth to get them to say anything other than yes, no, maybe, you know? So, but it's great the way that conversation flowed, the information coming out, and all I did was take information he gave me, provided it back. I tried to avoid as much as I know about Doug for that to come out, because I do know Doug quite well for several years. So, but I did learn quite a bit about Doug and improv. I always thought improv was always comedy, so I thought from that perspective that was something new I learned too. So I thought overall the conversation went well. Is there anything that you think I could have done differently?
I don't know about differently, but I'd like to share a bit of an experience where it's imbalanced like that. When I meet new people, it becomes quite imbalanced. I pull a lot out. And I've already been charged with being an interrogator, and I don't share anything. I don't share because they don't ask. But I think, I know I'm taking care not to allow that to happen, so that they feel like they're being interrogated.
Yeah, so one of the tricks that I try to do is if something is in common, I'll share something that happened to me or whatever the case may be sometimes. But if I'm really truly trying to get information, like in that open house, I'm trying to get as much information as I can in the few seconds that they're there in front of me, you know what I mean? So I am like an interrogator, but at a party, that's a different story. Yeah, true.
Well, one of the key openings for you was what I mentioned, Toastmasters. that would be a commonality
Yes.
between us.
Yes.
That we could,
And I almost said something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught me when
I
you were,
did.
I almost said something and I said, no, I better not. So,
Yeah.
but other than that, any other
You should have
comments?
asked him if he has his DTM yet.
Yeah. I should have. So, but, I'll tell you what, this was actually one of the better, I learned quite a bit from this. Just reading the manual itself and all the tips and information, I thought was quite
So what
helpful.
was this manual, interpersonal?
Interpersonal communications, or interpersonal skills, interpersonal communications, is that it?
Yes.
Yes. So, but I thought it was quite helpful. Thank you, everybody.